apologize for that. And I'm really excited about station. Grateful for having council and looking forward to the places where I look at to see what a line is and what happens if I step on it.
Nice.
What's going on swimming with the child? Is that okay?
And then, actually, I'm going to go with Kai, knowing he's an uncle, and I see you on there. Kai, are you available for me to choose you?
Yeah, we'll figure out the microphone. So that's why.
Now you can go. And now you're muted.
Okay, now it works. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna change to the terrace. Have headphones again. I'm just slightly distracted at the beginning of the meeting by Maya and making coffee. And yeah, let's talk about. It's a good thing to talk about how to make the delegations. We can also. But it might be too early to talk about the Aragon stuff, but that would be very interesting as well. If we have time still. And is there anybody missing still who has not gone?
Did Bowen check in?
Bowen.
No, I have. Good morning, everybody. I'm not really distracted. This is all I got going on right now. So you have me at 100%. Well, for a morning. And my intention is to have a good first unicorn meeting. And so I give it back to Lorelei.
Okay, just quick test. Can people hear Kai?
Can you hear me? See?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sweet. Well, I'm not sure what Aragon thing you were talking about discussing, Kai.
DAO's work.
Oh, that. Oh, okay. Yeah. We can save that topic for if there's some time. Yeah. Okay, so I would love to. Let's talk. Okay, so we have Puzzlar's milestones and projects being donated to as a just something that's up for review, as well as Danny's. So let's talk about both of those, and then while we're discussing that, I'd like you guys to just keep in mind, like, what is like the storyline in your mind of like where you're trying to steer Giveth with your donations. And it might be something as simple like as, you know, I'm just trying to keep us surviving with our current commitments. Or it might be a certain direction you're trying to go in, and just like how you see your choices each week fitting into that. But that's kind of a meaty thing, so just keep that in the back of your head. And let's first discuss the Ether Bank. Even though Lansky's not here, I think it's still good for us all to talk about this. I know that one of the concerns around funding EtherBank is that MakerDAO is a supporter of us, and we use DAI on our platform, and so it feels maybe a little bit like unclassy or something, or questionable to be like really supporting a project that's a direct competitor. And I know there are some other concerns about it as well. Yeah, what do you guys have to say?
I can go. I think that argument of like a competitor or whatever, to me, that is like, yeah, let's not like go political or anything. That's my opinion. There's no competition. I think it's great if we support things that make the Ethereum space like evolve and so on. And once we start having our decisions being influenced by, oh no, but we work to collaborate with them, and then no, that's competition, so we're not going to support it. For me personally, that doesn't count. But I do get the logic of like we're like a little bit in scarcity mode and we don't have a lot of funds, a little bit in survival mode. So I'm completely fine with just like funding our own projects first, so ourselves actually at this point. I did understand in the beginning that the reward that was the unicorn funds were mostly meant to like really support the Ethereum ecosystem. So that would also mean social coding projects. Then Griff shifted it a little bit more to like our own milestones, which makes sense because we're a bit short in funds right now, to say the least. So for me, summary is like, for me, it's fine to not fund them right now, also because we already funded them for their first milestone, and just recommend them like, hey, tell them we can support you with like promoting it or like having it funded and doing some real crowdfunding for yourself and just using our platform, but we don't have any funds to support you right now. Long explanation, but I had a long opinion on it.
Yeah, I have something to say about it. I never understood the Unicorn DAC as meaning to fund the Ethereum ecosystem. That would be like a very secondary goal, and that the main goal of the delegations in the experiment was to decentralize, you know, the funding of our own project and decentralize like basically like budget decisions for Giveth. And so to me, like it like barely makes sense at all to be donating to things based off of the motivation to like support the ecosystem if there's not a direct way that it's supporting us.
Yeah, if I can speak next and you can hear me well.
Yep.
I think that it's a healthy thing for our environment to have different initiatives and options and alternatives, so I don't see a conflict of interest. I think it's actually healthy to have engage with both Maker and Ideal Money. I agree with what Chris and Lorelei have expressed, that our primary intention right now is to support the evolution of Giveth, and the secondary intention is to support the ecosystem. And one way we could do that is to give ourselves that 100 or 150 DAI and then on there that we want to do. So that's a way we can still be supporting, just give ourselves that and then give it to them if we want to do that. And there was a third aspect of that. Oh, so I feel that with supporting, I'm sorry, I'm thinking through this third point. Oh, so the person, so we as the Unicorn posing milestones that we want to fund with that, and so it's through the process. But also, isn't there an aspect of the DA where the person who's putting the funds into that DAC still has the option to go, I guess, where those funds go? So even though we can make our recommendations through this process of where we'd like to do that in a centralized fashion, ultimately, don't those funds still come from a particular account in a particular person's control, who could also say, I don't actually want to go to that milestone, and could ask for clarification about?
Not really, because it's the donations are now coming from like the big 285 ETH donation.
Well, okay, so no, I can explain this, and I can also, it's also my turn to talk anyway. So basically, the way we're making this work is we donate in the name of the person. So we donate in Lansky's name and Bowen's name. So I'm taking the 285 donation, donating it in the name of Lansky, and then Lansky has complete control. There's no oversight. At least, like, Lansky is the one who could veto. Lorelei is the delegate, and so she has to push the button. But Lansky is the only person who could veto his delegation.
Yeah, so like as soon as there's 600 DAI in Lansky's name in the DAP, he's the only one who can, veto on that. And
technically, you guys could actually try to refund it. Now, we could block any of those, and I got to talk to Bowen about how that can happen. I keep forgetting to do that. But
what are we talking about?
Well, basically, there's a refund button. So, like when unicorns have donations in their name, they can go to My Donations, and they can actually click refund, and they can get tokens sent to their Rinkeby account that can be turned in for real money from the bridge. There's no button in the DApp to do it really easily. It's actually a manual transaction. So it's very easy to see that this is happening. And so I'll show Bowen an example of it so that he can hold all of you guys accountable to
oh boy,
not doing that. But Bowen, I'm sorry, please hold yourself accountable as well. don't steal the money, Bowen.
Oh, well, that's and we're live streaming this, so everybody's going to know how to do it.
Well, no one else has the money in their name. So
okay, I see.
This is
everybody's going to know that you could do it.
Yeah, exactly. So if it ever happens, we're blaming you, Bowen.
We all know it's you. No. It's like on the internet. Yep.
Right. It's always the security guard.
Yeah.
Wait. So back on topic. I think, I also kind of never really saw this as funding the ecosystem. I always saw maybe when it was like a UBI, it was more about, and it was like the other way around where 450 goes to the person and we get rid of regular rewards. And, maybe that at that time it was more of a, oh yeah, you can donate anywhere you want kind of thing. Let's test the DApp. But since we changed it to be more of a decentralizing giveth donations unicorn DAC, I always saw it as personally, I always saw it as something where it's like we're deciding the path of giveth. And the path of giveth, I feel like the unicorn DAC should treat its money like the giveth DAC treats its money, which is like, well, it's for giveth. It's not for social coding projects. It can support reward DAO, right? Like, I think that's a great place for us to donate money to. It can support maybe, and like I like the idea that Danny said where 150 is yours to play with. So, a little bit over there, especially if you're not giving money to yourself, that makes perfect sense. There's no reason that you should have to donate to yourself and then donate to another project. That's just silly, right? So, but 400, like your only delegation for the month going to a project that's not to give it is like, I would say that's a little faux pas, right? Or something along those lines. Hey. So on that line, I think that we should let it go this week and like let things happen as they are. But then have a culture without the rule, just have a culture and an expectation that that's not really okay. And then with Danny's, I feel a little stronger because it's like it does.
Well, wait. Did anybody else want to talk about this one?
Is that not at the same?
Well, so I'll talk here, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. There is this. You asked many questions before. Like we could also talk about why did we donate to what we donated, and I feel we would like to have it working in a way that it would incentivize something, but because of the financial situation, we're more like what is it that we want to save, or which are kind of like the most outstanding builds.
Yeah.
So it's kind of twisting this experiment a little, and that's also why why you maybe or it was probably your point that you wanted to make next grip. That this one for Dani is actually something that is promised by another person to be paid. And it should go toward clearing the DAC. But the interesting thing is, going to the first point, what I have donated to is, funnily enough, what I deemed most important, which was kind of like the DAC and incentivizing. I tried to go the route like and incentivize all the people in like one-offs, like this week. That unicorn this week, that unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing, so I was just looking for it and I now just found the message. So for me, it's fine that we do it like this, as I said, but I did see your writing in the Unicorn DAC at some point, and it's also in the Medium post that it is like supporting the ecosystem and so on. So that's why I did think that was like important. And also social coding to me is part of Give It. So if we support social coding things, then we're supporting Give It. But I do get like that we now could do it on like focusing on our own rewards. But you did write, Lorelei, at some point that this was just an experiment and the whole Unicorn DAC replaces regular rewards thing was never an explicit intention of mine. It feels weird. That's something that you wrote in January. So, but now I hear you saying like that you do feel like that.
No, I don't. I wasn't saying it should replace regular rewards. I'm saying that the Unicorn DAC funds should go towards supporting, you know, the Give It trajectory and like maintaining and developing this project.
Replacing regular rewards means, in my mind, that you don't get regular rewards. The unicorn, you get your $150 from the Unicorn DAC, right? But like the campaigns are still responsible for regular rewards if they can do it. But the Unicorn DAC can help, especially in times of need, you know? So that the campaign managers can pay other things.
I think it definitely shines a light on a need for more budgeting work in general. Yeah, because I don't know what else. Anyways, I did somewhere, and I still haven't been able to find this. I remember writing out a pretty like solid description of what the Unicorn DAC funds are for, what they can be delegated to, and then softening it because this is an experiment, and you're totally right about that, Chris. Because we wanted to like fumble through this and come upon these instances and then decide together. But yeah, do we want to just hear if there's any objections? Griff proposed to let go of the Pazlar donation this week, as in like let it go through, $450 to him from Lansky, and to adopt in general a culture, at least for now, of having these unicorn delegations go more towards things that are funding Give It. That was the proposal I heard. Are there any objections to that?
I would like to add that I think I had mentioned, and I don't know when, that it might be a good idea to start looking to like graduate their projects from like them constantly creating milestones to like trying to help them like through perhaps the grant ops or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they have a fully formed functional idea right now, and I think, you know, as long as we can get them to stick around, because they're really kind of, you know, some of the most active people in social coding. Also, I would like to, at a later date, revisit supporting social coding projects through this, but maybe not at this meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we're rich, things change. And that was, thank you, Vaughn, for bringing that up. That was when I lost, was that, like, I think it would be great to put unicorn delegations towards, like, the grant ops person, or paying them for extra hours to help social coding projects fend for themselves in the world. Like, to me, that's a way where you can get at this and really be supporting those projects, but you're more supporting Giveth, like, to help them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think $50 or something is such a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was why it's a little bit, and fine, but just $450 definitely makes some sense. Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to chime in on that. Like, that's one of the stories that I was been looking at in the last weeks. Is I'm not going to donate funds to the existing campaigns that are on Giveth right now, but I did feel like we could support people like Eli and Adam, who are active members of the community, writing and sharing about the CAMP platform, and also sharing, and you can support Giveth itself through checking out these projects. So that is one of the stories that I have going when I look for how to support people that are in the community and sharing the message of what we're doing, and in a way that raises up awareness of our.
Yeah, absolutely. If you create a milestone for Adam to write about Etherbank, that and how they're using Giveth, I mean, that seems like something that's more of a win-win than, hey, Pazlag is $450. Enjoy, take your thing, dinner. You know, like
he's done that with Data Fund, and he's Andreas's and Gray States. Ideal Money would. He's working with them too now to see how that story can come forth. I guess the other stories that I look for when I'm looking to fund them, in this week particular, I was looking could be fully funded this week. Actually get some money into people's pockets by putting it to ones that are small or that are close to completion.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, should we talk about Danny's delegation?
Sure. Can we do more of a structured, like, reaction round? Tension proposal.
Okay, so the tension is that Danny delegated to a milestone that was for Wojtek buying her flight to Prague. So it was a reimbursement milestone for him on something that he agreed to pay her. So I think the tension is that it feels weird that the Unicorn DAC is now paying for something that Wojtek said he would pay for, and also the fact that Danny was delegating it to herself. That was one of the other loose rules that we had, was that you can make bounties or whatever for all you want, you just can't be the one to claim them if you're using part of the 450 to do that. So proposal, I'm going to start with the proposal that we have a policy against funding. Okay, well, I'm going to propose that this milestone is not funded by Danny in this week's round. And does anybody have clarifying questions on that? Oh, how about a reaction round then?
Pick me. Okay, I have to dip out for a second, so I just want to say a couple things. I think that we just have to be like really close to following the spirit of this, like, money doesn't go directly to us thing with like most integrity. Pretty soon there won't be a watchdog on it. It won't be very close. We'll have to like review it after the fact at these unicorn meetings, and it's really just like being overly sensitive to that idea. Like even like Chris funding comms things might also, like that that are in the communications room thing might also almost be like sensitive, you know, like if he's always funding things with unicorn DAC money that he's also the campaign manager for, like that's even a level above, right? Or me, if I'm always funding governance milestones, well, I can fund that with
always funding RJ.
Yeah, well, always funding RJ. He's the DAP. That's the DAP team, right? So that's not. I have no other way to fund that really.
Yeah.
I can't use
Right.
other authorities.
Yeah.
But like, there is, you know, and if I'm always favoring RJ and everyone thinks that's an issue, then, you know, then definitely I should get called out on it. Although I don't think it's an issue. I think the DAP is the most important thing to fund. Anyway, but yeah, so I just think, you know, it's better to be overcautious, and I don't like hard rules. I don't want to have hard rules. It's really just us talking about what culture we want to build. And, you know, in general, I agree with the proposal, and we should let Danny fund $150 somewhere else. But I also am totally okay with, because this wasn't clear, letting things go. So, but I would prefer the other. I'll pass it to Kai.
I. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I pass it to Chris.
No comment?
There's not there. Yeah, I think those are pretty clear rules. So I'm going along with the proposal. I just want to keep it short. There's another. We ought to, and leave room for somebody who might have more of an opinion.
Yeah.
I think those points are very valid. So give it to Chris.
God, Kai, your non-reaction was such a long reaction. So, yeah, I completely agree with the proposal as well. I do like some rules, because otherwise there is just unclarity. I had a very interesting discussion about that yesterday. Actually, it'll come up later, but about culture and about having at the same time a strong culture and also rules, some sort of balance. So anyways, yeah, it would be good maybe if you said, Lorelei, that you had written this out at some point somewhere. I don't know if that's in that document in the wiki, but maybe it's a good thing for you to revise it and to see if it's complete, or if you should add something, so that we know, like, hey, if someone new joins, that they know, like, okay, if I have to delegate this, these are some simple rules to abide by, and of course we can still adapt them in the future because we evolve as a team. So yeah, so I would of course fund Danny's milestone, but it's best that she doesn't fund it herself. Other extra side remark on this is that I do hope that I am not completely clear why, if Wojtek was going to fund this initially, why we now need to fund it. But maybe Danny can answer that in her reaction. And I give it to Bowen.
I understand the tension, and I also think that it's a good idea to just be wary of like, you know, funding yourself past that 150. So I'm in agreement with that. I don't really have much else to contribute on this one, though, I don't think. So who should I? Kai? Is Kai gone?
Danny.
Oh, Danny. Sorry.
Yeah. I will say that I looked at it and I thought, I wonder if this is a conversation that took place that I don't know about. I don't know the answer to that. Is this something that I can fund? I don't know the answer to that. Let's find out. I asked somewhere, but I didn't. I had those milestones done, and I saw something small that I could do and had questions about it. And I am happy to be the example documentation of what not to do. It's a good example of how something can lead back to where you are the beneficiary of something. So I'm happy to either accept that that donation doesn't go through this week or put it towards another milestone. And also, like I said, I'm super happy if you want to use this example reference of what not to do. That's my thought on that. But yeah, when I first looked at it, I thought it appears that there are conversations that have happened that I don't know about, so I'd like to know more about it. And now we've gotten to talk about it, and I know a lot more. And is there anyone else that I need to pass it to?
Well, I did hear that Chris was asking maybe if you wanted to comment on why, if this was something Vortex was going to fund, why is it now that it hasn't been funded and that the Newborn DAC would be trying to fund it?
Yeah, though I've opened with saying it appeared to me that mutation had taken place that I didn't know about, and I wanted to find out more about that. Because I was there along with many other milestones, and so I wanted to know more about it. And Wojtek can ask him if we want to have a more concrete answer on why that is.
Okay.
So you mean that?
I guess that's me saying I don't know. I don't know why it went up, and I made an assumption that perhaps there was a conversation about him getting reimbursed for various expenses that I wasn't a part of.
Okay.
So you mean that money can still come from RSK, Danny? Because I still don't really get it.
So when Wojtek invited me to come to Prague, my understanding was that was for me to meet the whole Giveth team. I did not ask him where those funds were coming from. When he didn't say, I'm paying for this personally. He said, you are a new member of the team and we'd like to cover your ticket to come. So I don't know what the protocol is behind how people's, or if one person pays for it, if they can ask for reimbursement. I see for reimbursements for various types of tickets. So this is a question that I had, and I feel like it was something to poke and around.
Yeah, you did it exactly right. You did exactly the steps that are supposed to happen. We do have rules for that. It's a circle can invite people to pay for them, and those people should pay for themselves up front, usually, and yeah, make a milestone for that. And you did all that. It's just like the last step is missing, that you get paid for your advances.
By the circle, because the circle is a bit, yeah.
And this is putting, like, having more of those is just putting stuff out of equilibrium. It's actually a very bad thing to do.
Having more of what?
Unpaid bills.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you cannot, it's just, I don't know, but that might be me. You just cannot commission work you cannot pay right now, or you cannot, so, yeah. That's why I also always try to get the conversation to this, to like have more info about how stuff can progress. And actually, I was a bit shocked at the state of what stuff is paid on the DAC side of the DAC, because there's just so much and such high sums that are not paid. So I don't know. It just looks strange to me. I get frightened by those unpaid milestones.
Yeah, I know for me, I feel a little bit of like, oh, like I don't want to be paying Wojtek's bills until he's paid Danny for like the 2 months that she worked that he hasn't paid her for. It's probably one of those unpaid bills, but also we have benefited greatly from Danny being around. So like, I don't know. I feel like having Danny in Prague totally worth, $100 and something bucks from.
Of course.
I have
like,
something
and beyond.
for you. So it could be in a way that if Danny made a new milestone, there would be, fuck, I'm not getting reimbursed for this thing. So I heard, yeah, you also drew some things from it. Maybe you want to pay for it, and just a milestone shifts from the debt to whatever. I
Well,
like a new milestone.
it wasn't Danny being reimbursed. It was a milestone for Wojtek because he paid for her flight.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get it right.
It's confusing.
Interesting.
Well, I think we have a solution. I think this week the milestone just goes on silent, and next week we'll see if anybody from the Unicorn DAC besides Danny decides to delegate to it. Does that sound good? No objections?
Thank you for the conversation. I really enjoy and appreciate, and I support our outcome.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, do you guys, can you share like what it is you are trying to accomplish with your delegation choices? And I'm gonna pick Chris to go first because I think he usually has his thoughts really well organized.
Wow, what a nice compliment. Yeah, I think, I do for this as well. I will the logic for my donations is first of there's a few things that play. It's like am I extra grateful to some of the people that they went the extra mile, so I will pick those people first. In combination with there are some people who are more sensitive to like getting their milestones funded quickly. For example, Frederick is always like, the second he makes his milestone, I get messages on messages on messages. So I tried to, and you already got, I now sent them to you, Lorelai, so you know, because I was getting a bit nervous because of it. So I tried to mostly like give my money to like the people who really stand out to me that week. And apart from that, I would say right now it's definitely focusing on getting our core team paid as quickly as possible. So that would mean like if Danny is on there and I see an unfunded one, and Kai and so on, and Bowen, those will first get funded next to like the people who did an extra effort, someone like Eli or Adam or whatever. Okay, if that makes sense. And I give it to Danny.
Yeah, I look for who are the people who are really active and engaged, and how can my contribution really motivate them and help them be in the flow and feel supported to keep doing what they're doing. Then I look for where regular folks are going above and beyond and just really showing up and making sure that theirs are being, or at least receiving some contributions and acknowledgement. Like, I want to be able to say, I see you with this donation, as to being funded, so it can actually be reimbursed if possible. And then I look for what's old and what is a recurring expense. So if I see that then, and there's still an older one that's out there, I want to see those getting closed. And I will pass it to Kai.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of used it as also like the way Chris said, to incentivize or reward somebody for being like going an extra mile or being a very good unicorn this week, or in my subjective sense. I also did kind of like, I'm good at that, I'm not a campaign manager, because I did use it to commission my own work, or like in a way of, if I would request a feature for CoinSpot, I knew that I could promise some little compensation for it by just saying, hey, make a milestone, I can give you some unicorn funds. And the other ones were more, like I said, trying to pay back some few amounts. So I really like for the incentivization thing. I would really like to see that we can switch to a more programmatic system where we don't have a human actually having to make all those milestones, because I would really like to spend more in terms of 10, 20 bucks on many different milestones to get like really spread it more, because I think there's a difference between a milestone having zero money and a milestone having just a little. It's just better looking, I think, or like it's good for the people. And
so, wait, which part were you wanting to automate? The actual delegating?
Yeah, so actually you
so that it would be like, you could put $10 to every milestone you want and it would be easy.
Well, that would be the DAO. That's when the DAO is there, then you can just do that.
That's what I mean, yeah, but that's really what I'm looking forward to, because it makes it, because actually Lorela was complaining that I am, and that was when I had 5, or I donated to 5 people. So I actually would like to donate to 10 people. And so, because I feel if I gave $10 to everybody here in this room for being at the unicorn meeting or whatever, if I just
oh, your own reward DAO.
Yeah,
it's more like reward DAO.
Dish reward DAO points.
I'm not. The thing is, I'm not a believer in reward DAO, because I think it's not using the same. I really like to push the DAC in that sense, because the unicorn DAC is a way better integration or realization of a very similar idea.
Well, now they have to make their own milestones.
Yes, so that gets more. Even if we had open milestones, like those systems could be very complementary. Like you could start something on reward DAO and like pile more rewards on top of it with unicorn DAC. That would be exciting.
Open milestones, like where you would,
max funding.
Where you would be able to like pull out money out of the milestone and still have it be up and people still donating to it?
No, that would be awesome though, but it would make everything very messy. Yeah, but there was just a reaction to where I donated. You have to go.
Yes. So I have a special role because I am a donor in the Unicorn DAC, but I'm also a donor in general. And so I can use this as an opportunity to say that my own strategy is that I've been kind of looking for the older milestones to donate to and kind of leaving milestones up for the Unicorn DAC to support. So when like Michael's salary, for instance, he posted it a while ago and I've wanted to pay it off, and I waited and I waited, and it got about 300 from the Unicorn DAC. And then Michael was like, hey, I want to, fly to Denver. Can you pass that milestone? And so I was like, okay, cool. And so now then I topped it off as a donor, right? From the Unicorn DAC, I'm just kind of lazy. I just pick one that I know I'm going to have to fund, which is RJ in the DAC. And I just like hit it hard every week, finding one because I like the Unicorn DAC supporting the DAC. And I know I have to fund all these other things. So for me, instead of like spreading the love to a bunch of people, it just makes more sense to give it all to one milestone and then do the rest of the donations myself on other things. Yeah, so my Unicorn DAC is laziness, and the regular donations, I'm like, if you make a regular reward, I'm probably not going to fund it for like 2 weeks at least, maybe more, or like fund a little bit, just if I see it and I feel like donating. That's my general strategy right now. Did you go?
I did not go yet. Yeah, so 2 things. My 2 main motivations are like, just funding like our core people and old stuff that to me, when I look at it, I'm like, man, this hasn't been paid. This really needs to be paid. And the other thing is like trying to retain people that are really valuable to us. So when I see like Adam out there like writing awesome articles and stuff, I feel like it's just so clear that he is doing great work for us, but it's maybe not even that visible to everybody all the time. And I'm like, I don't want you to like slip away ever, like, or at least not right now. Like, whatever I can do to make sure people who are doing really valuable work feel valued. But I kind of, yeah, I think I'm thinking about it in a bun sense, like with Kai's bun protocol here, where I see something that feels like it's a hot opportunity and I want it to be eaten and appreciated before it goes stale. And I'm excited for a time when we can be more experimental, I guess, with the milestones, creating bounties and stuff. I think for myself, actually, this week, I'm going to create a milestone that's like a little bit of extra funding for Lorelei doing conflict resolution work, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and like when I do that, I work way overtime. It's also my most skilled work, and so like being paid the amount, like the regular rewards amount on weeks that are heavy with conflict res feels like, oh my God, like I'm dumping out my entire life force like into this and not being, yeah, I could be like rewarded more. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try that this week. Maybe put up like 100 die milestone that just explains that. And if people feel like donating to it, cool. If they don't, cool. I want to myself like experiment more with the system.
Of course. You should.
Yeah. So awesome to hear from all of this. Yeah, Danny went. Yeah, Bowen has not gotten the chance to fund anything yet, but Bowen, do you want to talk about like a plan that you have for what your strategy might be?
I'm going to need a little hand holding on that one, since I haven't done it yet, and I don't know how you guys are doing it because I'm not yet quite official. However, I'm kind of in agreement with making sure that our stuff, like, you know, we can continue to maintain doing our thing by helping each other out and making sure that everybody's rewards are getting paid for, and then moving on towards the secondary stuff from there, which I don't know what is yet because I haven't actually taken the opportunity to look at what all we have to donate to, which is new stuff for me that I have to take a look at. But other than that, I haven't had the opportunity to make any of those decisions yet, so it'll be fun to try.
Hey guys, I'm gonna end the live stream here and start the live stream in the other room, just so you know.
Being hiccupy and I can't make all the delegations or my own timeline, and so like several weeks there's been this moment where like whenever you guys chose your milestones, they had plenty of room in them left still. And then between then and when I actually get to delegate, they get filled up. And then people are like losing out on the utility of those funds. And there's also, I think sometimes people just don't look in the list above them to see like, oh, did one of the other unicorns already slot a delegation for this week? So I'm wondering if people are interested in some more like group work and group work time or communication around delegating. Like for me, I like the idea of hanging out on a call with people every week and being like, oh yeah, what are you doing? What are you going to delegate to this week? Really super casual. But I don't know if that feels, what are you writing?
I'm live streaming. So this is the unicorn, the community meeting, but we're showing you the end of the previous meeting.
Yeah, that's
it's on my stomach. No, maybe quick word then on that. Well, like I think it's of course it's always nice to hang out. I'm not sure if I would join another AP meeting because it's difficult to do that. I do this delegation at a time when it fits in the agenda. There's only so much going on. But I do think it's important to just, like you just said, mention like, hey, guys, if you delegate, look what the people above you already delegated to. Like these little tips help us. And you're like educating us to do this in a better way. And like documenting it will help as well.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal opinion.
Anyone else got a comment on that idea?
I mean, I'll just say that it's hard because sometimes people need to get paid, and I don't want our experiments to hold it up when our credibility is on the line and their happiness of work. And so sometimes, like, even though I'll see that, like, oh, someone donated, this person needs to get paid right away, so I'm just going to do it. And sometimes it's like there's a little bit of negative trust on delegations happening on time. So like I have to just do the best that I can, and you know, sometimes it sacrifices money. But the thing is, like, you know, if someone else donates in front of your donation, awesome, then that's more money for the Unicorn DAC to use next time. If you want to be strategic and maximize your power, then, you know, do that. But it really shouldn't matter as long as the milestone that you're supporting gets funded one way or another.
Yeah, I totally feel that. And the other question I heard you about was about getting together and chatting. And I, for one, really do well with having a scheduled time to sit down and do that. So I like the open office hours and would appreciate doing that.
Yeah, it might be helpful for Bowen too.
As long as it's early for Bowen, then he'll love it.
Yeah, it needs to be at least 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Okay, time's up.
Okay, we can switch to Gov or
No,
community.
give it .dac.
Give us -DAC.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it right here.
Oh no!
Okay.
Change the separate room.
See you guys.
Okay, see you there, thanks. Yeah,
I'm posting a link in the chat.
Danny, are you gonna come to? No.
There we are again. Hey, Griff.
Oh, well, hello.
No.
Anything new here?
There.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
It's just the angle of the camera that changed on your side. It's nice.
Yeah, well, we're switching computers now.
Mm.
Oh, that command.
Welcome. Looks like maybe Danny's not coming. I don't know.
I think she is. She didn't say goodbye.
This is true. I mean, she's in Costa Rica making things happen, so I understand if she can't come.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. Let's see. I'm going to also just go to Gov really quick and make sure people know that we changed the channel.
It's probably still wrong in the bot. Bowen, you're really good at that. Is that something you maybe could do? Change it in the bot? Or no, there is maybe no bot for golf. I don't know.
No one's in the room, so.
Is it in the calendar?
In the calendar, it's fixed.
Chris is just on top of the calendar, like nobody's business.
Okay, cool. I don't think that there's anything about it in the bot.
Okay.
But I will look at the code.
Cool.
Yeah, Michael. Welcome to the party.
Michael.
Word.
Okay, so let's get this party started. It's going to be a long one, and we always start with what the hell is happening in the Give It community. I can start. So I don't have anything really prepared, but there has been a lot of movement in the token engineering, Open Token Engineering DAO, which is our working title. So I've been pushing that forward and trying to spend the majority of my time there. I'm trying to drop as much surface things as I can. I dropped open source block explorer call. I think I might be dropping the liquid pledging thing because I also got news that Aragon doesn't want to support the Nest group doesn't want to support it, but they might be wanting to do bounties or something of that sort. But I think I'll just drop it because it's a distraction anyway. And maybe they'll end up doing Aragon without my help. We'll see. And then, yeah, the other stuff that I've been doing, working on like a 2-page draft of like a summary of the white paper and talking with Jonathan and Zargum from Block Science about all of that jazz. That's been the main stuff. Also getting the Giveth headquarters and making DAP issues and what else? Lots of, I've been catching up on emails and actually like making progress, getting that inbox down to 0 almost. Setting up things with Rafa to try to get a dev in Tijuana. So Bowen won't be the only one on the West Coast time zone. That would be nice. And planning out at Denver and working on this hackathon. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of networking in Berlin. So, you know, my time is really shifting to as much as possible to this open token engineering DAO, which I think will be able to build on top of Giveth. And it might be like the killer use case for Giveth. I mean, it's always been kind of the idea for me is that this is like an open playground to play with governance experiments. And this was the first one that seems like they could fund us directly. So I'm pushing it full on. I will pass it to Kai.
So, yeah, I did some blog as well this week, mainly work.
Kai, your connection is loud.
Yeah, Kai, can you move closer to the
helping
window?
those guys.
Move closer to the Wi-Fi.
On Jupyter Hub.
I'm just gonna boot him. How about let's go to Bowen instead.
We're checking in, right?
Yeah,
I hear everything.
Yeah, what you did before.
Oh God, I should have taken notes. So much has already happened this morning that I can't even remember everything I've done. I committed a new version of the bridge monitor that's actually functioning right, and so hopefully somebody will take a look eventually. Making sure everybody gets paid. More people are finding out that I'm the person that pushes the pay button on the bridge, and I get lots of messages about, hey, when are you paying out my milestones? So so that's happening a lot. Trying to take care of social coding and prepping for ETH Denver. Yay, first hackathon, first crypto conference. So I guess I'll pass it to Michael, maybe.
Sure. Hold on a second here. So, over here. So have been so just following up on the DAP issues. Followed up on making sure that people were reviewing their DAP issues that were completed for so we could just mark them as completed. Just continue with the sprints and the prioritization list, all that stuff that we do every week. Just finished that job description for Griff for the Mexican folks. Been involved in organizing some work with the Onward Labs so we can move that forward, that project. Catching up with Jeff and Griff on the token bonding models. Finalizing this event on March 29th for the Social Impact Blockchain event here in Montreal and the speakers and so forth. Also following up with Mozilla now that we have all the podcasting and the questions all sorted. So just securing those dates with them and Also following up with this incubator concept I've been talking about with everybody. And also I did a little bit of, I mean, this is sort of outside of Giveth, but just a little bit of tertiary connecting of block science with some Canadian and British blockchain projects that I know of. So just kind of doing a bit of kudos for Giveth, hopefully, in terms of us showing that we're trying to help them find opportunities. So I was in a couple of calls with Block Science this past week, connecting some organizations. And also just trying to follow up on making sure some of the things in terms of connecting Griff to people like Andrea and Long Now Foundation, stuff like that, getting those calls organized. And I'll pass it over to Chris.
Yeah, so what did I do? I expressed my opinion on, well, I give some more feedback on the branding for Giveth.io, Giveth1, with in discussion with Lorelei, and then yeah, gave my feedback on Lumio, and discussed this also with some other people in direct messages or calls. I did Bowen's unicorn onboarding together with Griffin, Lorelei, and Bowen. Then I did some a lot of little things, also Griff, catching up on mails, on lots of unread messages after last week of Berlin craziness. I did things like renaming YouTube videos and making sure that everything is visible and clear for the outside world of all our streamed calls and so on. There was a little bit of work there. The communications meeting, just now the reward DAO meeting, and the test of the reward DAO meeting, we'll do that again. The unicorn meeting just before, and yeah, so I will also be doing still today and tomorrow a lot of administration, because I'm very much behind on getting myself paid and paying other people that I need to pay for, not just living here and stuff. And I give it to who is still left? I think it's Kai is maybe back now in a better connection.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I'm back with a better connection. So I did. I'm trying to help those guys, Jeff and Griff, the block science people, to talk to each other, connect them on Slack. I did do something with the permissions on the Jupyter Hub, fixing stuff. I submitted a Giveth token engineering team for the hackathon in Paris. I sat with Lorelei to make decision-making visual of how we do decision-making within Giveth, so we can work more on that, improve on that. I selected some parts for a computer that we might not run, but whatever, I did it. I followed up with some people I met at Aracon, like the Department of Decentralization, a Progress Bar in Slovakia, Roddy Cards, wherever they are from, I don't know. I think they're from Berlin as well. Aragon as well. I helped Berlin release those videos we talked about in communication yesterday, so they are up on our YouTube now. I squashed some other issues on the communication repo and on GovLab repo. I have an outstanding pull request from Wiki for Chris. Yeah, I think that's about it. And I will help move stuff here. Hopefully we get a move on tomorrow and clear this place, our current HQ. And is anybody still left to go?
Yeah, me.
Please go.
And Danny.
Okay, I'll go first, and then Danny, I'll pass it to you. Okay, this week I've been. Oh, yeah. Hi. This week I've been in Barcelona and doing lots of searching for the Giveth HQ.2, and we're doing a good job of that. And also lots of organizing how to move out of this place. And I have, let's see, we just had a unicorn meeting, so I organized all that. We also did lots of comms this week around what milestones are eligible to fund with the unicorn DAC and kind of hashing out the principles there. Let's see, I've done some organizing for F Denver, and we onboarded Bowen as a unicorn. I have yet to make a Lumio for him. And yeah, I had a little co-work session with Kai. Been making some GitHub issues for buggy milestones. And yeah, oh yeah, and delegating for the unicorn DAC. Oh, and lots of like conflict navigation stuff, making Lumios, as you guys saw, as well as like other offline comms around that. And yeah, that's been my week. Oh, and are we doing intentions and distractions yet?
Oops.
I'll do those. I'm intending to like get through this stack of Lumios, and also we have a decision in the like giveth.1 Lumio thread that is not a proposal, but it is a decision that showed quite a bit of like data on how the community feels. So I'm excited to see how that could, hopefully some productive discussion can come out of that in this meeting, even though it's not a traditional like proposal as we usually do here. And I am not really distracted. If we run overtime, I think I'll have to step out. Yeah. And Danny.
Yay, thank you. So the bulk of my time this week has been working with individuals who either want to create their own milestone for Reward DAO, or are helping write the process for it and come up with some great ways that we can manage some changes to it and make it less labor intensive, to get people's milestones completed and get them sharing more. So contacting folks has been a little bit of that, and getting some changes done to Wall of Fame so it actually works better, but now we're contemplating how to continue using it. I also spent put a lot of energy into conversations and thoughts about my role with the DAC team going forward, and the various roles that that I'm looking at, and which ones I want to put more energy into and which ones I want to put less energy into. I've also been learning quite a bit about things like DAI and the changes to the DAP, communicating that to our current campaign owners and new people who are working on things to come up. Unicorn DAC, looking through the different milestones, learning what's being worked on right now, and encouraging contributors to put milestones up for the things they're working on. And then diving into all the different Lumios that are up there, reading and understanding and forming an opinion to express there. My intentions are just to hear what everybody's working on, get myself lined out for the few hours I have remaining available to give today and tomorrow before I'm unavailable for the next week. And my distractions are many, but I am remaining focused to the best of my ability for this next hour for you. And I'll pass it on back to the beginning of the circle.
Cool. So logistics. We have a lot of Lumios to talk about. Some of them I think we can skip, or at least pass through really quickly. And if you guys want me to not skip one, please tell me that. But I am going to propose that we skip some of them. Also, I want to at least leave it open to going over this meeting because we have so much to talk about. And some Lumios we can skip, but some we definitely can't, and it's just a busy week for Lumios. Sometimes we have none and we have fireside chats. This is the opposite. So yeah, if you have to leave early, that's fine. Just interrupt us and say goodbye, guys, gotta go, love you, bye, right? And it's totally cool to interrupt to leave. Okay, so let's start the show. First off, always, there's the weekly DAP issue prioritization, and there's actually a Lumio on top of that that Michael made, although he made it just yesterday, or sorry, just today. So we have to skip that just because there hasn't been time to review it. But
no problem.
In general, it will be like a rolling thing, and I think it's a cool new way to do the Lumio itself. So definitely check out the weekly DAP prioritization. Another one I think we can skip, but it's fun, is the new headquarter in Sants. If you guys want to talk about it, we can. But just like say it in the chat if you want to talk about it. But I'm going to, because it has unanimous support and is pretty well defined, definitely just, check out that Lumio if you haven't, and we have a badass place, and hopefully we'll sign a lease on it soon enough next week. Changing the mile. So there's two topics about changing the word support and changing the word milestone. I will save the milestone conversation for the end if we have time for it, but I don't expect we will. So unless somebody really wants to talk about changing the word support or changing the word milestone, we'll skip those as well. So then the first one that I want to actually do is Paris. So we were, and so the order is going to be Paris, then Jeff's full-time milestone, then give it .1, then adopt bun protocol, and then change the name of milestones. Unless there's any objections, just put in the chat. Okay, so first proposal is from Loie. Are you going to Paris? Want to take it?
Yes. Okay. So Paris, from the 3rd to the 10th of March, there's several blockchain events. There is the Council of Ethmagicians, which I said was free on the Lumio. I was corrected by Chris. It's actually €35 to register for that. That's on the 4th. Then the 5th to the 7th, there is the Ethereum Community Conference, which costs €240. And then the 8th to the 10th of Paris, 8th to the 10th of March is the ETH Paris Hackathon, which is free if you have applied or are going to apply. And we had been chattering here and there about having some kind of like Giveth offsite deep dive work together time during Paris, especially because the SCC conference is like in the middle of those two events, and it's 3 days long, and it's kind of expensive, so probably a lot of us wouldn't be going to it anyways. So this is also not like a direct proposal, but I put up a few options, and some people added some, of what we can do with this. One of them is that like, I'm going to Paris. I will be free the 5th to the 7th, aka not going to FCC, and I can pay for my own room and my travel and everything. Another one was I would go and I would dedicate that time to intensive Giveth work if my lodging was paid for. Then there was a I'm not going option. Then there was I would rather save this Giveth time for when Ether is back above 300. And then the last one is I would go and dedicate the 5th to 7th to intense SCC time for Giveth if I can expense it. I'm guessing that's Chris that added that option, and that you were saying you would you would be doing essentially like comms at SCC. Am I correct about that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you are kind of a different argument there, because like your role in being at SCC is like part of like, yeah, it's a big part of your job in comms. So this proposal was more about having that like deep diving work together time, which sounds like you wouldn't necessarily even be available for, because it would be more effective to have you out there being a face at SCC. Anyways, the most people indicated to save this sort of offsite giveth time for when Ether is back above 300. But also Kai mentioned Taylor maybe having a way for us to share an Airbnb that would be cheap. And then there's the option of also trying to fund a place for us to all stay together with like Unicorn DAC funds. Basically, Griff is not going to fund it out of his pocket. So yeah, I'm still going to propose that we just don't plan to have any group housing that week. I think if we house with Taylor, it'll still end up being expensive. And there's lots of outstanding bills that the Unicorn DAC could be funding instead. So my proposal is, with the most popular one here, that we would just save this, give us time for when Ether is back above 300. Are there clarifying questions to that?
Well, maybe what if Ether never gets above 300? I want to add another option, which is that we're getting a new headquarter, and it would be awesome to just make the deep dive in our new headquarter and at a later time, of course.
That's an excellent point. Excellent point.
Not a clarifying question.
Not a clarifying question. Okay. Any clarifying questions before?
There aren't any.
Okay. Reaction round.
I can react. So what if Ether never goes above 300 and as for myself, like I said, because of the hackathon, I might be going there. I'm definitely not going to FCC as part of like a ticket, but I will coordinate with especially you guys, because I think Griff will be there longer. So yeah, I will definitely go there, and if it's not paid, I will pay for myself.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can give it to Chris.
Yeah. I think if I do get the logic entirely, so I'm fine with not going to Paris at all. If ETH doesn't go above 300, and I'm sure it will still go above it in the future. I do hope so. But what I did want to say is, then if that happens, then because I think Kai is going anyways. If someone wants to go to Ethmagicians and needs a ticket, just note that I bought one and you can buy it from me. That is just not a waste. Yeah, maybe I'll decide last minute, but I'll stick with the group. And the Barcelona like deep dive time and so on, we could do this, but then I propose to do it at a later time, definitely not like around that time. Let's do it when the weather is like more springy, sunny again. And I give it to Bowen.
I'm currently unable to come over there anyway, so I was the definitely not going category. Who hasn't gone?
Like anybody.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. How about Kai?
Ah, damn it.
Kai's the only one that did go.
Yeah,
You have to pay attention, Bowen.
There's a fire going on over here. Sorry, I'm trying.
Griff, what's your reaction?
Go ahead, Griff.
Okay, so I don't really. I think we need to start cutting costs as Giveth, and especially if we're getting this new place, it kind of makes it more unreasonable to go do meetings anywhere else. So it's really, because really 1 month's rent is like about how much it would cost to do an Airbnb for a week, or probably even more than that somewhere else. And Barcelona is a great city. So we should, I couldn't agree more with Kai's idea of let's ring in the new headquarters with a party, and probably in late March or early April, maybe after Vienna. There's an event in Vienna. So I really think late March might work out really well for that, but we'll see. The other thing is that there is the Ith Magicians. I'm definitely going, and I might need a ticket probably. And Lorelai, I don't know if Lorelai wants to go, so Chris will probably take that ticket off your hand if you don't end up going. We will definitely want to do the hackathon, and so if anyone does end up going to the hackathon, then definitely you know, we should at least coordinate, even if you're not, even if the room isn't being paid for out of like a group thing, maybe that we can share expenses and still get a house. The other piece is I am speaking at CC. I have like a half-an-hour slot, and so I'm going to do like I'm just going to do another talk that I've done before. And let me think, is there anything else? Yeah, Paris is expensive and shitty. Let's not go there. Lorelai and I are short on Europe days, so after March 25th, everything gets easier. I'll pass it to Danny.
Yeah, I would love to see a milestone for a housewarming party in Barcelona over going to Paris. And that's my reaction.
Want to make it?
Sure, I'll make it. I would love to make a milestone for organizing a reunion and housewarming in Barcelona. Yeah. It might not be this week, but I'll get it to. I will get to it. Lorelai, have you gone yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Thank you. I super appreciate these other points that you guys are bringing up. Oh my God, you all are great strategizers, and it's so nice to put ideas out into the void and get great ideas back. I think this makes a lot of sense. What? I'm not supposed to react?
No.
Oh,
your
okay.
proposal.
Okay, good win.
Amend and clarify.
Well,
yeah, you get to amend and clarify. Well, Michael still has to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much to add. I totally agree. I think Paris is probably not a priority at this time. But I really like the idea of meeting up where you have a big space already in Barcelona. It just seems to make a lot more financial sense. And, you know, for me personally, I'm going to try to go to Denver to try to meet some of you guys. It's just more cost effective for me to go to Denver than to go to Paris. So I think it's great meeting face to face. I think it's really important, but we have to keep in mind the costs involved. So I'm all for the Barcelona idea.
Cool. Amend and clarify.
Yeah. Okay. So this proposal now includes a housewarming party, give it offsite time in Barcelona in our HQ.2. Danny is going to make a milestone for that. I'm sure she'll collaborate with people on kind of like how much planning for an event like that costs. And the original proposal stands that we will not try and pay out of any give us funds for group housing in Paris this time. Any objections? Okay, proposal passed.
Cool. Okay, so the next thing on the docket is Jeff should receive full-time rewards for the Giveth Gov campaign. So this is something that I will steward for him. Basically, he created an outcome as well, which is really nice. In short, he appreciates the feedback that we got. He promises to be at 1 Giveth call per week. He will do regular articles around the projects that he is working on, and he's down to do a video series with Chris. And so the tension was that he's working full time for Giveth and is actually cutting down other income streams so that he can focus on this. The proposal is that he starts getting full regular rewards from the Gov campaign, and that he does the things that I mentioned already, that he outlined in the Lumio. And he will also, contribute to other things around the Giveth ecosystem as he can, with this main project being the focus. So, clarifying questions. Oh, do you have one?
Yeah. Where does the money come from?
So the money will come from the Gov campaign, which is funded by me, basically. At least supported by me in the short run.
And then my only other question is is this reflected on the roles sheet yet? This potential change, it sounds like he's adding some new accountabilities, like 1 article per week, a video series. You mentioned 1 or 2 other things that I wasn't taking notes of. So I'm wondering if those have been kind of proposed in roles or.
Probably not. I highly doubt it. He has been touring around, so I will put this in the chat, and I will ask him to put that in the role sheet. Any other clarifying questions? Reactions? How about Kai?
Yeah, just oh yeah, doesn't have to do anything. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just filling in the notes a little. Yeah, it's great. I wish we had more, like always, funds in the Gov campaign to make this wholly cool thing. Say maybe we have half a year funding all those people or whatever. But I'm all for getting Jeff on board. I see the work he does with this, and of course he should be compensated, ideally through the DAC. Don't want to say anything different. Cool. With me, I give it to Lorelai.
Okay. I am way on board with supporting people for work they're already doing for us. And I think that Jeff has come in to Giveth in a great way. And just the fact that he's started working full-time or basically full-time before even having any notion that we would be compensating him for such hours just shows how passionate he is, which means he's the right dude to have around. And I really believe in valuing him for that. I am a careful person, so I always worry a little bit about money. But I think this is the right decision for sure. I support the proposal. Oh, and I'll pass it to Chris.
Did you say me?
Yeah, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, I first put myself on abstain, but then after talking to Jeff and which was actually the reaction he put in his outcome, I changed it to a hell yes. Yeah, Jeff is doing amazing work, and he's doing extremely important work. And as he said himself, he has been in an absorbing phase, and now he's going to come into like an output phase. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm happy he will join some of the meetings. And so yes, that's my only comment. And I give it to, I think Michael hasn't gone yet, or has he? Sorry.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally support it. I mean, I do talk to Jeff quite a bit, so I know what's going on in the background, and I know he's extremely active in building up that community for Giveth, and the network, especially for Giveth, and some of the interesting stuff that's going to be happening with block science. He's absolutely passionate about this stuff. And I think it's the right direction for Giveth too. So I think it's just a perfect fit right now. And and I agree with the. I think the one thing was just increasing that communication. But as Chris mentioned in the outcome, that's exactly what Jeff's plan is. So it makes sense. And I'll pass it to Bowen.
I am in agreement with the fact that he should be getting regular rewards. Again. And I think is Kai gone?
Yeah, I think Danny's the only person who didn't go, but she's not here.
She's dropped off. Yeah, okay.
Dropped off. So
why am I not hearing Kai today?
Yeah, I think he sounds like he's far away. Because he is so far away.
Why? I'm right next to the microphone. Can you hear me, Bone?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So amend and clarify. The big thing about Jeff is that he also has like his efforts have a direct funding route or like a path. Like his efforts can potentially bring a lot of money to Giveth. And so it's very aligned with our next strategic path. So I think I see it as a very effective investment for our future, beyond just like an expense. Proposal stands as is. Jeff will have presence at one Giveth call per week. He'll write regular articles about the projects that we're building.
Wait, what was that first thing?
I can copy and paste it.
Okay.
So it's right here actually, or in the Lumio as well. But he's gonna have presence at one Giveth call per week. Okay. He's gonna issue regular articles around the project that we're building. He's gonna work on a video series with Chris and I, and he's gonna get paid $600. And he's gonna work on, of course, his main effort, which is building this open token engineering DAO with block science, and he will do that with being paid $700 DAI a week, just like everybody else. So, any objections? Proposal passed. Okay, next round. We have the big one that we always love wasting our time on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Lorelei, maybe if you want to roll through this, it's your proposal. Possible action steps on the Giveth 1 versus Giveth DAC branding.
Yeah, I would like to pass the note-taking actively to someone else. I see Kai is doing it.
You can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't appreciate just announcing it as a waste of time.
Well, I should say time sink.
I'm getting close here. So let's see. I'm going to talk about these tensions here. The DAP team has split off and started yeah, really doing their own thing, getting funding from RSK. It's been a long time that they have not been getting a split of Give Us funding. And so they're autonomous in that sense. Back in the fall, they made Illumio to talk about branding and names. And after that Illumio, we were all kind of shocked by some publicity that happened without consulting us, saying things about Giveth and insinuating things that weren't matching what was going on for us. And we last month were talking about this and decided to put on hold any sort of like plan making because they were waiting for more funding from RSK. And it seemed like, well, maybe they're not going to get it. They were already like 40 grand in debt at that point. And so we're like, oh, we won't really truly talk about this until we find out if they have funding or not. So, but the past, I think it was maybe a week and a half ago or something that we heard, it is pretty dang likely. I don't think the money's in pocket yet, but RSK is saying they are going to renew their funding. So that puts a time pressure on things, as well as Wojtek has said that they're gearing up to do some partnerships and some press releases very soon. So obviously those are both big comms impression things, and there's a need for us to have a unified front on like what our decision here is. If they can use the Giveth.1 name, how they can use it if they can. And this week I put up Illumio with some potential like parameters for use or not use that have already been suggested. And the top two favorite ones were DAP team only uses Giveth name in the way that, say, DAP node or BrightID uses it as a nod to the incubator or parent project that it arose from. And this is just a signaling poll, but that one is the highest favorite. And then the next one was that all blog posts must go through our filter, and the process for this filter is yet to be determined before they can publish anything with the Giveth name on it. I don't think this issue is ready for a strong proposal of like, this is exactly what we're going to do. If anything, it's ready for a proposal of this is how we're going to figure out what we're going to do. Okay, I think one of the main issues with this filter for their comms thing is that it will take a lot of work and hours from our side as well as from theirs. So if we do develop a proposal for that, I think it would include Wojtek or Grace or whoever is doing comms for them, dedicating like at least 5 hours a week to interfacing with us about this. And this is not a 5 hours that we're going to pay for. And then that on our end, there would need to be another, I don't know, at least 5 hours a week for us, someone from our team, probably Chris, doing the interface on comms with them. So there's a need for like funding that work if we're going to do it. In some senses, it seems simpler to put stricter parameters, like use Giveth as like a parent project thing. Yeah, okay, I don't know where to go with this like gov meeting discussion because it's not a proposal, and there is like way too much finesse involved in it. But if people, mainly I would like to put a call out to please participate in these Lumios more. And I do have plans for going forward, like how to draw us to a more clear proposal. But right now, if people feel like it's okay and it would be effective, I would love to hear a reaction round just where we're at now, even though it's not a clear proposal. Any objections to doing that reaction round? You know? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Kai, do you want to react?
I feel I wish we would not have to spend time on this. It's just it becomes an issue we cannot solve because the relevant parties are not talking to us. So I don't really know what to say. This can be about the stance that we take, which is what would we like to have. And you said that we have to talk about outcomes, so I like that. But it won't help anything really. The only thing that really helps is from them to start talking to us. Yeah, they are just a rogue at this moment. And I pass it to Griff. Thanks for the note, Griff.
Yeah, I actually think that it's dangerous to let this drag on without decisions, and it's fucking pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. I hate this topic. I feel like we should just appoint one person to make the decisions and save our bandwidth for things that actually matter. So letting it drag out and take all of our attention is a huge waste of resources. If we, want to make a hard line, we really don't have time. As Lorelei said, that they're looking to do PR and they're looking to, pimp out their name. I don't really have the clear picture of it. I feel like Danny has the clearest picture because she gets to see both sides. And so I would say that we should appoint her, honestly, to make the decision. And then we, and then come back to us with decision and make proposals. And then, of course, it's tough with her not really around right now and for the next couple of weeks, but that would be my proposal. Or we just go with, listen, it's too much of a waste of our time and they can't use our name, and just be done with it. Because, while that's not my favorite outcome, I actually would like my personal preference is that they just make that they just don't focus on comms, let us do their comms, and if they can't agree with that, then they can't use our name, and that's it. And then we would be upfront, because the biggest danger to me is that they really are hot to trot on onboarding people, and the people who are onboarded are not going to have a good time with the DAP. And I actually am really curious, because Andreas came in, to hear what his opinion is about onboarding people to the DAP early before the DAP is ready, and the pain of that, and whether or not that hurts our brand.
But he toggled off because it's first time, right?
Oh no, Andreas has been to meetings before.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I'll pass it to Andreas.
Oh, we can't hear you.
No.
Maybe headphones, unplug the headphones.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So overall, the DAP is very accessible, but to get to know, so let me give you an example. The people I work with and the people that are part of our charity won't be able to handle it. It's difficult for people to even understand crypto. So it's a matter of education also, as well as user interface. There needs to be a little bit more work. There needs to be a little bit more. I mean, user interface at the moment with any dApps is not, you know, it's not the greatest. So do we suggest waiting to get the greatest interface in the world, or carry on and make it better in the process? I think user input, from my work, my day job, user input is really important, because if you don't get that feedback, you might be building something that's not very useful for the wider audience. So there's a few arguments. I mean, I don't know. You know, for me, it's easy. I can use it. If I try and let somebody else from my team to, you know, play with a dApp, they're going to ask so many questions that I'd rather just not do it. So I don't know if that helps.
Can I just ask a question, like, or basically almost make a statement? It's like, I would be happy to onboard charities if they were able to get money, right? If we had clear funding revenues for charities, then onboarding makes a lot of sense and it's a win. But if we don't have funding revenues and we just are, you know, taking the charity's time and then they end up losing out of it, like, my main question is, does that hurt our brand? What do you think, Andres?
It's a difficult part, because, for example, charities like ours are very, very unique in the fact that they're very cost averse, if you like. We don't have employees. We don't pay for anything apart from the absolute minimum for expenses like the shop that we have, and we fundraise to send stuff to refugees. It's really unique what we're doing, but also we could gain a wider audience by using something like Giveth. The bigger charities will be able to fund things, but they'll be asking for customizations, which I'm sure, you know, can be prioritized. But then the model changes. It's not about what you guys have built and how that translates into the real world. Well, the let's call it the humanitarian world, which I'm in. It's the other way around. It's them then asking you to put things on that, you know, could potentially cost a lot of time, but they would need to be paid. Which, yeah, if they're willing to pay for that, then roll on. You know, I don't see an issue with that. There is a misalignment there. So, for example, we get fiat for most of our donations. So it could be that these other charities can only pay in fiat. So that's something that Giveth needs to, you know, the whole team needs to discuss and agree upon how you're gonna play that.
Yeah, and then Andres, before you pass it to someone, I mean, do you have an opinion on what we should do for the Giveth.1 team versus our team for branding?
I think the branding is really powerful as it is, and it should be carefully dealt with. It's one of the strong points, if you like, of the whole comms effort with Giveth. It's difficult to, you know, split. You know, that a fork is always going to be confusing, and that confusion needs to be cleared out as sooner rather than later, because things get, you know, things spread really quickly, and that could be damaging. But again, it might not be in the long run. It just needs to be dealt with. I'm all for, and my suggestion would be, if you're going to have a fork, then you need to agree as soon as possible what that needs to look like. The brand, you know, another issue I found with Giveth, and forgive me for being blunt, is that the team is a group. It's not an organization. So, for example, Grace Aid have their brand. The logo was designed by my wife, for example, but it's owned by Grace, not by my wife or me or any of the other trustees. And there's a legal framework that can control that. There isn't something like that with Giveth. Not that you ever need to go through that kind of phase, but it can be harmful either way for both, for Giveth One or for Giveth.io. Both teams will need to get it clarified. So yeah, I mean it is an issue. I do find it as an issue. But I'm not qualified to be advising on resolution. Let's put it that way.
When you're done, just pass it to somebody.
Chris?
Okay. Yeah, so also pointing out, Griff, that you were breaking your own protocol here a little bit, like you were cross-talking and asking extra questions. So
Yes.
yeah, no, but especially like with topics like this, I think it's best to stay on topic because it's already such a delicate and difficult topic to deal with anyways, and it's a big one. But so yeah, I think I expressed my feedback on it in the Lumio, and I also put it in the Unicorns channel now, and that feedback is that I think it was really good that Lorelei created this Lumio, although we all hated doing it, and I got personally I'm also getting pissed off over this entire situation because we're sick of talking about it, because we already stated our opinion before. Anyway, so now we have again on paper a very clear signal. So to me, there is no discussion. The community has clearly stated that the first option is to use another brand that was already coming out of the previous Lumio. And the second point is that, yeah, if they do want to use it, that it should go through Giveth. So what I've done is just like, because yeah, I saw Wojtek reading all of just our conversation, so I just called him out and I asked him, can you respond? Can you get back to us? So he said he would today. So we'll see if he responds today, and then we can see what the next step is. So my recommendation is, let's see how Wojtek responds. I don't think that Danny is the person to make any decision, in the sense that she's in a first of all, she's not reachable for the moment because what she's doing. Second point is that she is in between. She's in a very delicate position because she works for Giveth and she works for Giveth One in a way, or for the new DAP team or the old DAP team. So I wouldn't like put any pressure on her in that sense. It is Wojtek who has to come back to us and to say if Grace is going to continue doing communications. If she is, well, I am very willing to be the person to talk about communications with the person who does communications for Giveth One, because it is my job. So I'm volunteering to do that. But I do hope that Wojtek will just come back and say, we will move to another brand because that is what the community wants. If they refuse to do any communication with us, then to me it is also very simple. The moment that they just put out communication in which they continue using Giveth One, then to me it is clear, and then I would personally just respond with the Giveth Twitter account and saying that after talk between us, but I would respond by linking to this Lumio that signals what the Giveth community thinks about this decision by them. Long explanation, but it's an important topic and I have a very strong opinion on it because it's communications. And I give it to Michael.
Yeah. I think I also have a very strong opinion about this because I agree. In my opinion, we're sinking way too much time into this now. I think this idea of 5 hours a week on our side and their side is a total waste of time, in my opinion. Eventually, there'll be a situation will arise where we'll get into a conflict on terms of messaging, and that 5 hours could be 10 hours and could get worse. I think they should get a different brand, and I think we should wait to hear what Wojtek says about that. I think they're considering that, because I talked to Wojtek quite a bit as well, and they're listening. So I don't think we should jump the gun. Let's, as Chris said, let's hear. We've signaled our intent. Let's see what Wojtek says today. And and I think if they do decide to go with a separate brand, then we can close that, but keep open the idea of building strong collaborations with them. And if they just, and I just don't think they're not going to communicate. So I don't think that situation is going to happen. But I just think, like, let's not go down the path of trying to, it's in our interest, I think, as Giveth, not to be spending a lot of Chris's time on coordinating communication with an organization that has its own mission and vision that's different from us. That's just, I just don't see that as being the best way to collaborate with another organization. So I think this signal is good. I think we'll hear from Wojtek, and I'm hoping this issue is closed at the end of today. And I'll pass it to Bowen.
Bowen?
I was waiting for the name to be called. So I spent a lot of time talking to Chris about this. Actually, I think probably several hours over the last, month or however long it's been going on, going back and forth about possible scenarios where this outcome is good for any of us at all. And the most recent point that we got to is basically what Chris said. I mean, it's a shame that there has to be such a division. It really sucks. I hate that, because I think that we're aligned in purpose, but misaligned in governance. And I think that we've already seen things, part ways as a result of disagreements with governance techniques and things with other parties. And I hate to see it happen with them. However, like I also think that, like I said on the Lumio, that a brand is a brand for a reason, and like dividing it, dividing the message and dividing any whatever signal that creates to the rest of the world just hurts all of us, and we should probably do whatever we can to avoid it. And they at least as far as I'm concerned, Wojtek has every right to be able to use the Giveth name also, but with at least the care and understanding that that's using the name of a group that he decided to part from. And even though he was, a part of the genesis of the project, like, I think that, just think about how big of a deal that is, instead of just going off and using it in a way that was never discussed, because it caused a lot of tension with everybody. So I don't know. Let's see what he says. Hopefully it is done. Has anybody not gone yet? I mean, it looks like Danny's here, but I don't know if that's true or not. I see the avatar.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, Danny, bad connection.
Oh, now you're muted. But it was, yeah. Oh no!
Is she the last one?
If the response is short, Danny, maybe you could type it.
Well,
I'm turning off the. I think I just turned off all the other Wi-Fi. Better?
Yeah, it's way better.
Okay, cool. So my feelings on this, and I mentioned it previously, is that I really want energy in my role and reduce team support, But the piece that I care about the most here is our users and our audience and our stakeholders. So my greatest stand on this is a method decision is, and that we
Hey, Danny, is your video off as well? Because you have a really bad connection.
Yeah, you can go to the 3 dots and from there
Do
click
audio.
call quality and do
interested in giving.
I think she's on her phone.
Oh.
Which still has the audio only option.
Yeah. Danny, if you're on hearing us, maybe try switch to audio only if you haven't done that yet.
You also could type what you want to say, and I would read it out.
But if she's on her phone, she can't type it.
Yeah.
Maybe she can do the call in, the regular phone call in, because then at least we would be guaranteed to be able to hear her.
Yeah.
Uh,
We never do that, actually.
it's really too bad. Should we pause this and talk adopt Bun protocol so we can save some minutes?
Did everybody, was Danny the last one?
Yeah, we could just pause.
Hold on, she just read my text to invite her to type out what she's thinking. So
We'll see what she does. But do you guys want to pause this and go for Bun protocol? Any?
I guess.
I have no objections to a pause.
Yeah, there is an amend and clarify. I'll save that for after.
Yeah, we'll just.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like all the fire is out now. That does one issue, but yeah, let me bring you all back to something happy, which is some stuff that goes forward. So one of those things I found in my research with the GovLab was the Bun protocol. Like for all you coders out there, it's not really a policy or whatever. I mean, it can be. It's more like a fun way to think about opportunities and put them into it's a mental framework if you want. And it's kind of like those coder principles, like do not repeat yourself, which is dry, or kiss, those kind of things. So what the Bun protocol really is to see, because we're a decentralized body, if you see an opportunity, like one of us, unicorns, encounters an opportunity, could be an email or talking to somebody at a conference or meeting them at a meetup, whatever. So the idea is that you treat an opportunity, you analyze how important, is it important to like the mission or to your own mission or to a circle's mission, and then you try to think if it's time critical, like does it in the Bun terms we say does it go stale, like when does it go stale, when can it not be eaten anymore. And the important thing is that a bun has to be eaten, like it's very delicious, and the fresher it is, the better it is. And in that way, it's just a framework for if you identify opportunity as a bun, you're like, oh, to the other people you communicate, oh, I found this bun, and then you say, I'm going to work on it, or you look for somebody to work on it or eat it. And if you don't, like, we can collectively decide to dismiss the bun, but that's just it.
Wait, what about the cookie? Did you talk about the cookie?
No, I just wanted to stop it here, but
no,
the extension is the cookie, which is just an opportunity with no time limit.
So what is the proposal? Oh.
There is no proposal. The proposal is maybe like these things come out of GovLab, and I think they can help us talk about things. Like I think now, if I come into this room and say, hey, I've got a bun for you, everybody knows what I mean, and I don't have to say, pitch it again. This is a really great opportunity, and I think
is the proposal to adopt Bun protocol?
Okay, the proposal is to adopt the Bun protocol, but yeah. Seeing as it's kind of an individual thing, like even I can adopt it without you opting in. But yeah, we should treat this as the official opportunity to adopt it.
Okay.
And one more thing, it's part of like our description of how do we want to make a pattern for decision making within decentralized organizations, and that's one part of it. There will be more coming like this.
Okay.
So anybody ready? Yeah.
Clarifying
Or
questions.
clarifying questions if there are any.
Any clarifying questions? Okay, reaction round. Who wants to start?
I'll go. I think that I was probably a little bit more critical in Illumio than I am now after, having sat on it for a little while, because I'm like, one more thing that we need to think about. But I guess it really actually does kind of make a little bit more sense than not. So I think it's safe. I'll pass over to Chris.
I think it's a good mindset to have in general, and to be honest, I think it's already part of like our values and the way how we do things. I think we're a bunch of people that don't let things rest, and we have this Bun mindset. Personally, I'm definitely not going to block this, but I think I abstained in Illumio in the sense that I think it's an you mentioned, Kai, like, yeah, then I don't have to explain the concept, and you can just say, hey, I'm passing you a Bun. But the thing is, like, if new people come, to me, that's just an extra name and another term that they have to learn, and it makes us less approachable. So I don't think there's an added value of like adopting a Bun protocol because I don't know what that means. It's nothing concrete. It's like, yeah, just like treat stuff in the right way. But I don't know like what is going to change if we use it, because we already use it in the way we do it. Using the term is going to make us more opaque to people. That's my thought on it, but I'm not going to block it. And I'm passing it to Michael.
Well, Chris said everything that I would have said. That's basically my opinion too. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I think we practice it already to some extent. I love the idea of a Bun going stale. I think that's super neat. But I also agree, like institutionalizing and adding new language does tend to potentially makes us more opaque as new people come in, and it's a lot already to understand, a lot of how Giveth works, because it works in a very unique way already. So it sort of adds another layer. But certainly, Kai, if you say I've got a Bun, it's going stale, can you help me? I get it. I'll do it. I just not sure if I'll be using that language as much as you might be. That's all. And I'll sit over to Griff.
I love it. I think it's an easy analogy. I agree. It does make us harder to break in, but when we're already like a double black diamond, so it's like, yeah, adding an extra mogul over here doesn't hurt enough that it's a challenge. I think it would add more. I think it adds more value than it takes away, and it's always fun to have our own little lingo, like everybody else has all their acronyms. Like people be like, "Oh, what's Bun stand for?" Dude, it's fucking roll. Don't worry about it, but yeah. So I'm a big fan. I'll pass it to Andreas. Oh, Andreas. I'll pass it to Lorelai. We'll see if Andreas wants to do it later.
Okay. I really like this idea. I think that terms like this are fun, and they are more like invitational, actually. I think they invite curiosity. about our processes, especially like since it's a governance thing. It's kind of building up more curiosity about governance tools, which is an aspect of Giveth we've been strengthening more and more, and feels really good. Kai did say to me that he always spells it all caps because it's like an official thing. And I think the all caps actually makes it more opaque, because when I see something all caps that I don't understand what it is, I'm like, it's some acronym, it's boring. But to me, if it was just regular bun, then I'm like, oh, what's this? I want to find out. I don't feel like a dum-dum, you know? And that's all. I support this proposal, and I want to make a video with Kai describing what the bun protocol is and use real buns and cookies. Andreas, are you there? No.
Grace Aid! Andreas!
We need some Grace Aid.
Okay, did Danny comment on this?
She did.
On bun protocol?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so then I think it's back to you, Kai, to amend and clarify.
Yeah, amend and clarify is, yeah, I feel you guys, but I am with Griff and Lorelai here. Like, I think it adds fun. Like, there's some, like, it's the way of secrets, man, and everybody got its own lingo, you know, like the sailors have theirs, and the decoders have theirs, and you know, the unicorns have their own language. Who knew? And yeah, because it's, I would not even try to adopt it if it was not such a strong mental image. But I found that it stuck with me. So I'm doing this for a few weeks now, thinking in buns, and so I thought, like, I have to use it. Yeah. So you understand me. And as for the Lumio, I realized that it was a bit. It was the other way around. It's because the way we decide stuff within Giveth, that it has to be Lumio first, and then you can bring it to community meeting. Because this kind of stuff should be just explained, you know, in a short way, and would not even need the whole thing. It's just I wanted to do it like this to officially adopt it. So yeah, it can be part of our handbook. You know, officially adopted stuff, it might sound threatening, but I think this is still very agile and fluid. If we don't like it, we don't have to use it. So that's a long amend and clarify. I will not change the proposal, we just adopted bun protocol. Thanks for typing all of that.
Any objections?
A clarifying question in what the proposal is, like, what will this mean? What does adopting the protocol mean? What happens to us? What do we need to do?
So adopting the protocol means we can use it like as a word and as a concept, and just take it and play with it if you want. And for me, it's like an experiment, how it will stick with you, what will happen down the line, how often will it get thrown back at me, you know, will it change your mental framework? I'm more interested, like, you're the only guinea pigs I have to test tools of decentralized governance, so I will use you because you opted in, right? Governance circle. Did I answer your question, Chris?
Yeah, I guess in the sense that it's a term I can use, but I'm not obliged to use. Yeah, I guess.
No objections? Proposal passed. Okay.
Okay, so unpause, back to possible action steps on Giveth 1. Lorelai, Danny has spoken.
Okay, so Danny said that I want to, and then this is in the notes too, I just transcribed what she wrote, or what she said to me in voice message. I want to reduce my roles with the DAC team. The piece that I care most about here is our users, our stakeholders. My greatest concern here is that Grace is the person who is empowered to do comms for the DAP team, And without a clear relationship and agreements there, I don't see any way that we can work collaboratively with them unless Wojtek is able to come back and tell us something different. My reaction is that I don't really wish to work with that team much going forward. I do want to work on behalf of our stakeholders, our campaign managers, donors, collaborators, to help communicate in the best way possible how to participate with Giveth or the other DAC team as is appropriate.
Okay, so amend and clarify, Lorelai.
Okay. This was really valuable to hear people's reactions. I heard from a lot of people that they want to see if Wojtek comes back with a message today, as he said he would, and see if maybe this whole thing is dropped because they have been listening to our signaling. And I think independently for myself, like not so much as a facilitator, but just as a participant in this community, if I don't hear something from Wojtek in that Unicorns channel that they're dropping it, so to say, then I'm gonna make a proposal that is of that most popular option on the signaling poll, and I'll make a fleshed out proposal for that that's coming from my voice, not as a facilitator. And then so we could go through that one as a very solid proposal next governance or next community meeting, and set the conversation down after that. I don't know if this is really like a proposal to be passed or anything, so.
I mean, you made a clear proposal. We're going to wait.
Sounded like a proposal, yeah.
We're going to wait to hear from V, and if nothing happens, then we're going to say that they can't use our brand as their own. They're just a DAC node.
Well,
that was the most popular proposal. So.
Yeah, what would happen is I would make a real proposal of that.
Okay. Any objections? Proposal passed. Okay. We have, in my opinion, 3 minutes to talk about whether or not we should change the word milestone. I want to say that if no one has heard or saw the UX report, there was some solid feedback from an outsider that said, milestone, I'm looking at these milestones and none of them seem like milestones. They seem like random things, and that there's an expectation of a linear path for milestones. So you have one after the other after the other. And that's just not how our DAP uses milestones. And so according to the Lumio, there's absolutely no interest. Well, there's very little interest in changing from milestone because of the work and stuff like that. So I guess my proposal is that we continue looking at this because I don't like the answer of the Lumio. I really think we need to change the word milestone and break it up. But so my proposal is that we continue looking at this some other time. And I don't know if we have a full time for reaction round, but
your proposal is not to make a proposal, Griff, so maybe we don't need to react.
Yeah. Does anyone have any comments on this for like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will go first. I think I really like that we think about this again, but it's really, I think what we are just changing this and that. Support is a different thing. That's a kind of a link, so that can be changed. But if it is really concerning the underlying system, I think we just need a system redesign at some point and call things maybe differently then. Maybe have a, like we said, maybe a 2-tier tire structure, or we keep it more fluid, that there are not tiers anymore, but just free stuff. But just changing the milestones themselves for the current thing is, I don't think that good of an idea. But with a bigger restructure and new UI, I think we can do that, separated from the thing that is now. So that, and anybody go to.
Bowen had something.
Yeah, mine was basically the most that the DAP is being used is by us, and we're using it under the nomenclature of milestones, even though they aren't, which I think is why the UX came back that way, because a lot of the UX commentary, well, the parts of it that weren't salty seemed to be based on not understanding how to look at it from the perspective of what you're looking at is us using our own thing, not the way it's intended to be used by someone else later. So they're getting a confused perspective on it. So I think that the entire idea doing a UX review on us using our own DAP was basically just firing fuel. And I don't think that it would be necessarily necessary to change the term milestone in the DAP just because the way we're using it is wrong. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my and like all of the development hell that would cause for a new dev team to come in and go like, well, why is everything called milestones here and in the UI it's called something else? So there's going to be it's going to be a lot of work to change it. No, that's all I'll say. Try and keep it short.
Anyone else?
Yeah. So very, very much the feedback that Bowen just gave. The feedback of that guy didn't get me angry. I did think that it wasn't too professional the way he wrote about it. I wouldn't trust someone doing a professional UX review like that, to be honest. And yeah, so this is a review of something that is in beta that only we are using. So his review was like very biased because he said, yeah, what's the end user? And so he started already focusing on it as like a general end user in most of his comments, which didn't make any sense. And apart from that, indeed, like what I put in the Lumio, if you think we need to change the name milestone, let's like review the entire logic of how the DAP works and not just like change one random word and leave everything else as it is. That makes really no sense to me. Let's do UX review and do like an entire like roadmap of where we want to get before we just change one word. That really makes no sense to me. And that's it.
Cool. Does anyone else have a comment?
Yeah, I'll just say, again, Chris stole my words. I just think looking at milestone in isolation is not the way to go. I was even questioning whether Lumio is the right process for this. Like, I just think we should look at it more holistically. But I'm actually not that supportive of the term milestone itself. I just don't like looking at the term milestone in isolation.
Same.
Yeah, great feedback, guys.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Milestone never made sense to me. Like when I came in, it's like, why is this called that? It feels very limited. But yeah, big overhaul.
Big overhaul. Okay, let's thank you for the longest meeting ever. Let's have a closing round. I can start. Thank you guys. Great meeting. We got a lot done. It was worth going long. I feel like we had a lot of production here. So, and I feel like I love these meetings. I feel like we always end up with a clear path forward afterwards. I'll pass it to Kai.
Yeah, thanks. Great meeting. A bit long, but thank you for your input and for staying that long. I give it to Andreas.
Thank you for including and well done meeting. Say to Chris.
To me, yeah. So first, also, I just want to say thanks for joining, Andreas. It's always nice to have like someone else in here. We always share it, and not a lot of extra people join, and it's like good to hear someone with an outside perspective, just like tuning in and chiming in. Yeah, so just thanks for the very nice meeting as always. And it's by far not our longest meeting. I think our record stands more to like 2 hours and a half. So it's really okay. I give it to Michael.
Yeah, great meeting. We got through everything. It's fantastic. Good prioritization. And I'll pass it to Kai, I think.
Lorelei.
He's not gone. Lorelei.
I thought this was a really interesting meeting, and it gave me like direction. Yes, y'all.
Is there anyone else? Bowen?
Yeah, thanks a lot for a great meeting. I haven't had so many meetings in one day. And I guess let me know when the reward DAO thing is going to happen.
Okay.
And love you all, and we'll see you on Riot.
Yep. Love you guys. Oh, and Stefan says hi. Hi, say hi, Stefan.
Hello.
Hey, Stefan.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Nice.
Howdy.
Oh, you have a big team there.
Yeah, we got people hanging out. See you guys.
Okay, see you guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Interesting.